Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading. Today we're taking a look at the case of 6-year-old Timothy Pitzen, who disappeared on May the 11th of 2011 from Aurora, Colorado. He was taken to school by his father that morning and later checked out by his mother the same morning, and so they did not come back home, which made the father concerned, who contacted the school and found out that his estranged wife had checked out their son and had since disappeared. They weren't found until much later when they found her car in another state, and the body of Amy, his estranged wife, in a motel nearby, and she had committed suicide, and they had no idea where Timothy was. Before she committed this act, she had actually called the mother, and she had called his brother, James's brother, and she had told them that, first of all, they told the mother that they would be home in a couple of days and Timothy was fine and she just needed time to figure something out. And in the call to the brother, she mentioned that Timothy belongs to her. And in the note that she left in the motel, she said that Timothy was safe and with people that loved him and he would never be found. So they suspect that he's still out there and other people are not so sure. This is all the information that I really have, aside from the fact that it was interesting to note they went and looked what she did with him up until the point where they arrived at the motel, and it turns out that she had taken him to a zoo, and she had taken him to a water park where they had stayed at a hotel. She had bought him clothes, she had bought him toys, all sorts of things, almost like they were having a fun time out, you know, because perhaps they wouldn't be able to do that anymore in the future, because I'm pretty sure that she planned that, at least the part in a hotel, she planned that beforehand. A few things as well pointed towards that afterwards, because apparently she had taken a trip in that direction where her car was found twice before, so they figured that she was probably planning this sometime beforehand. But even though her phone was found, there was no information about that, about who she may have been in contact with or whatever else she may have planned beforehand. If she did any noting of her plans, it was definitely not on the phone. Who knows what she did with her notes or anything, who she contacted, nobody knows. And that is why we are now looking at this case with the tarot. We're starting off with the Muse deck, which is currently on the table. It has some very nice imagery. And for any further questions, moving on to the Modern Witch Tarot, which is this one. As per usual, I'm just going to start shuffling the deck, and when we have enough cards on the table, we'll stop and take a look. Before we get started, let me remind you that there is a link to a Google Forms in the description. If you have any more cases, then please submit them there. Make sure to submit each case separately, because they do all end up in the same answer in the form, and I'd like to have things separated so I can check people off. Thanks in advance if you want to do that. And without much further ado, let's just get started. Okay, we have quite a colorful collection here. I think we're starting off in Amy's perspective here at the top left with the Ten of Swords, which is a lot of worry. We have the Nine of Cups in reverse, definitely not feeling very emotionally settled, and the Two of Inspiration, which is Two of Wands. So the voices are swords, the emotions are cups, and the inspiration are wands. And resources, what is the other one called? Materials, here we go. Materials, those are the pentacles in this deck. Anyways, well, like I said, Ten of Voices, feeling very concerned. It's often also a very dramatic card, very darkest for the dawn. It looks though this person is being pierced by several swords. This is combined with the Nine of Cups in reverse, somebody who is very depressed or in some type of really deep hole mentally, and they only really see one way out because Two of Wands is normally like a traveling card, and it's almost like they only really have one option here. You can see somebody sitting there with a spyglass, like they're trying to find something, but in this case they're not even going to bother looking, or they just saw no way out. So this is a very doom thinking type of situation that they find themselves in. So this may be her perhaps in leading up to it, having all sorts of thoughts about how there's no way to continue without doing this or some other way. They really had no choice, at least according to their own thoughts and feelings. Next we have the Hierophant in reverse, the Ace of Cups upright, and the Two of Materials in reverse. So the Hierophant is somebody who's like a higher power, could be a priest, could be somebody who just has a lot of sway over a person or a group of people, somebody well known within a community. This case, they may have sought somebody out like that and not found what they were looking for. But the Ace of Cups right next to it does show that they had a moment of a new hope. I feel like a new hopeful thing, like it's the relief washing over them. If you look at that, like they're really coming out of the water and feeling refreshed, that type of thing. Two Materials is Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles normally trying to balance things out. In this case, it's either no longer in balance or they're not bothering to do that anymore. It could be they try to sort things out perhaps through some legal matter or some official person, a counselor maybe, or somebody from some government agency, something along those lines, and that just did not work. It could be that some official bond wasn't working for them anymore. This could be representing the marriage as well, in a way, like the bonds of the marriage were too restrictive, or at the very least not what they were looking for, and then this new initiative came around and they no longer tried to balance things out anymore. This could be the point where they came up with the plan, the way out, so to speak. So perhaps they had found a way out for them, or at least something that they thought was their only option. Then we have Death in reverse, unable to let something go. We have the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. That is a loss of focus, actually, but we'll get to that. And then we have the High Priestess in reverse as well, also not really taking time to investigate. Interesting. Maybe also because, well, we saw it already with the Two of Pentacles over there and the Two of Wands over here. There's just no time taken to really, like, investigate, consider things, consider other options, like this is it, this is what I'm gonna do, is what we have so far. And like I said, unable to let go with Death here in reverse. Unable to let go, unable to close a certain chapter perhaps, or unable to move on from something. Now the Eight of Pentacles normally is somebody sitting there really focusing their crafts, like being really good at that, and crafting a whole bunch of resources from skill alone. But it almost seems as though they were unable to let go, and they were just incapable of letting go as well, because resources, of course, very clearly is something that you would covet, you would want to keep to yourself. So this is unable to let go of something that they consider to be theirs, which was also reflected in the brother's phone call. He belongs to me, is what she said to him, which he thought was interesting enough to pass on to his brother. The High Priestess in reverse, like I said, not really willing to look internally or to investigate anything further. Just like I said with the Two Materials and the Two of Inspiration right there, just unwilling to look at any other perspective, just a singular focus, not really interested in perhaps what lays beneath under the surface layers. So very focused, and also very focused on themselves. which is unfortunate. Then we have the Seven of Inspiration, which is the Seven of Wands, people coming for your position. You have the Ten of Cups, that's a lot of positive emotion, as you can see, joy. And then the Sun in reverse. So this sounds a lot like the final days that Timothy must have spent with a mother. It's like the Seven of Inspiration, like I said, people coming for you. The Seven of Wands is often people charging, or at least trying to take your position, challenging you, that type of thing. The card before is the Six of Wands, where people are like lauded as heroes, and usually the cards follow each other up in like a story. So the next part of that story is people possibly questioning what kind of hero you are. So this could be the outside world coming for her, like, hey, what did you do with the kid? And you're a terrible mother, why would you do that? That type of thing. So this is them closing in on her, it seems as though, and it looks as though they are trying to push that out of their world as well, with a bright star in the background, like, okay, I'm doing it for this, I don't care what anybody says about me, and this is my focus and this is my goal. Ten of Emotions reminds me of the days that they spent together, because they went to the zoo and they went to a water park and he got lots of toys and other things. And then we have the Sun going down, because the Sun is in reverse. I think this is the moment where they split ways. Of course, this doesn't really show whether something violent happened to him or whether she really just left him with somebody else. I'm hoping that the next few cards will tell us something about that. But it looks as though the fun times ended, and they're definitely aware of that, at least Timothy. So it's not like a very sudden thing that happened. It's like the sun went down on all the fun that they just had. So this was definitely a noticeable moment that they were conscious of, Timothy. So this is the point where we don't know what happened, because now we're literally searching in the dark. Now let's see if we can get any cards about the sundown event and what happened to Timothy next, because we know what happened to Amy, but what happens with Timothy? Okay, this one as well. Okay, strength in reverse, so definitely losing strength. Could be anything, could be mental strength, could be physical strength. The King of Cups, so there is a King of Cups here. King of Cups are normally somebody who is fairly good with their emotions, could be somebody who is also fairly good at manipulating people's emotions, though it's upright. So this may be somebody who is just being heartwarming. Perhaps she did say that he was with somebody that would love him. I don't know if this is one of those people, perhaps, or at least somebody whom was supposed to take care of him. Let's see what else we can get. We have Four of Wands, which is definitely a harmony card. So there does appear to be a period here where some things were good. There was some harmony. There was perhaps... The Four of Wands is also often the household, can also point towards marriage, people living together and just enjoying each other's company. I almost look at... If I look at this card, I see mostly two people that appear to be tempting someone to walk through this little flowered portal that they made with the sticks and the flowers overhead, and behind them lays the city, like, hey, new adventure comes this way as long as you step through this portal and accept our flowers, that type of thing. So this may be a reference to the people that Amy was talking about that were trying to welcome him into their life. So perhaps they weren't lying about there being people that love them. Let's see what else we can find. Oh, that one flipped. And then we have an internal conflict with the Five of Swords in reverse, which is mostly a mental conflict, I think, because it's in reverse. I tend to see that as an internal process. And Two of Cups, that is losing somebody, perhaps also just missing somebody. Like Two of Cups is normally two people coming together. In this case, it could be two people going apart. I feel like this, particularly in combination with the Five of Swords, is the internal struggle of I'm missing somebody. Like, we have nice people here, but we also have just missing people. He was sick, so he's definitely aware of the people that were in his life previously. He would definitely miss all of his family, his father and his mother, of course. So I think that is them going through that phase, feeling homesick perhaps, and having an internal struggle about this new situation. Okay, Knight of Pentacles is on its edge, and we have here the Five of Pentacles. Okay, so there's definitely some loss being felt here. And the Nine of Pentacles, which is normally like having a good harvest for yourself, having a good amount of resources, is on its side. And I feel like this is the ambiguity that you would feel as a 6-year-old being in this new situation with new people that offer you all sorts of things, because you're also missing the other side of the story. So this, I'm going to leave it on its side. It seems to be pointing towards that there were indeed some people that took care of him. So they were feeling the loss, but at the same time also gaining things in the other end. But I think the feeling of loss was definitely winning out, because the Five of Pentacles over there, like I said, it's like an internal thing. The loss that you feel here, this is like a bankruptcy type of thing. Can be emotional or mental bankruptcy, or just like moral bankruptcy, but it could also just be feeling a loss very much deeply internally, which may not be logical. Like you would look around perhaps and see lots of things that you can play with, lots of things you can eat and stuff like that, but you just feel like you've lost something significant, even though it appears as though you haven't lost anything at all, objectively speaking. Well, you have things, that's what I'm trying to say. We do have the Nine of Cups here popping out at the top of the screen. There it is. So we are definitely trying to at least feel good about ourselves in the situation, and this is upright. So I feel like on the outside they may have at least presented as though they were definitely happy with the new people. I can imagine that the people that they were with were at least very friendly and helpful. We have the Four of Pentacles here, which is a balancing of resources as well. This may be them trying to pick themselves back up again. We have here Knight of Swords, which is people perhaps running their mouth a bit. And then we have the Queen of Pentacles, who is somebody who is very gentle and caring, but also practical. These two cards particularly combined reminds me, perhaps Timothy was talking about his situation, perhaps to people that he shouldn't have been talking to. Like if you just have a 6-year-old showing up in your household, the people that knew you beforehand and don't know about this arrangement will start asking questions, and 6-year-olds will just blurt out whatever comes to mind. So I feel like this is a situation where he may be saying things, and then whoever this Queen of Pentacles is, who is like a new guardian of theirs, is like going to step in and say, oh no, you don't mean that, you mean this, and they're trying to like make it sound okay to the people listening, and probably also trying to influence their line of thinking, like, oh no, you're misremembering that it was actually like this, and this happened and that happened, and why don't we go have some ice cream, so to distract ourselves from whatever else they might want to talk about next. So they are definitely being guided by somebody to not make too many verbal mistakes, because the Knight of Swords charges ahead, as you can see, and the swords are speech and thoughts, and they may be running their mouth, so to speak, in the way that the people there do not appreciate. But of course they're not blaming him, because they are indeed a 6-year-old, and 6-year-olds, well, right now they're 16, but back then they were 6-year-olds, and they would not have known the difference between right and wrong. No, they probably wouldn't know the difference between right and wrong, but I mean, like, they wouldn't know that it wouldn't be a good idea to talk about the past, so to speak. So people will start asking questions, like they just innocently talk, and the Queen is like, no, we're not going to talk about that here, or hey, why don't we go do something else, and then try to distract him from that train of thought. So that was 16, that was like, he would be 17, actually. It's 2022, and he got missing in May of 2011, so he would be 17 at this point. Let's see, are we ever going to find anything about Timothy, actually? Like, does he even remember that he's Timothy? Are we going to see anything about him? Is he going to one day realize what happened? Make himself known? Okay, these guys. Knight of Materials is on its side, same as this one in that sense, like not really sure about it. And the Knight of Materials, which is the Knight of Pentacles, is a slow and methodical knight. So it could be that they are aware but they're also very practical in the sense that they're like, I don't know if I should go back. Wouldn't it like bring a lot of hurt back, or perhaps they've forgotten about me, something like that. Like they may be of two minds about what would be the best practical thing to do with his and other people's resources in this case. We have the Page of Materials also on their side, but I'll turn it up right there. This is the Page of Pentacles, same thing. They may be, well, they're not quite an adult yet, so they may have slightly impractical ideas about how resources and time are best spent. I think that they are kind of still on the fence about certain things. The Page of Pentacles is a bit of a juvenile energy still, and they may be trying to be practical, they may be trying to be logical, but it's not always going to be the best choices that they're making. What else can we find? That one. And this is the Ace of Inspiration, which is the Ace of Swords in reverse. So that may be pushing certain new thoughts and ideas out of your mind and perhaps choosing not to entertain them at all, like consciously not going for new ideas that may lead to things that they do not find desirable, or try to push them away. Like whenever they may have some clue that something's not quite right, they might just push the thought out of their head because it's not practical and it's not something that's helpful for them in the moment to entertain. Okay, one of the cards looked as though it wanted to pop, but then it didn't. Like they may have changed his name and therefore he might not even know who to look for in that sense, because a lot of kids go missing. He might not know the exact dates that he was missing. He might not remember his last name. Let's see what we can find. Anything else about him possibly making a return? Okay, small stack. How many is this? 4? I think that's a bit too much. Okay, let's see if anything in particular wants to pop out. That one. I think one more. There we go. The Chariots on its side. Okay, so this is definitely a frustrated wish to move, but being unable to move. Just like I said, he may have had a different name given to him, and that would make it very difficult for him to find any news about him possibly be missing. I'm pretty sure he remembers that he used to be with a different family, and therefore would like to know who these people were, but he just can't get there. And we have the 5 of Swords again, which we had here as well. We're about to put it in the exact same spot, so there is still the internal struggle, never left. And he's definitely of two minds. Like on the one hand, I want to know, and on the other hand, I can't find out. It might rock the boat. And also I don't have anything to go on, and probably he can't ask the people around him because they definitely don't want them to go back. Who knows what Amy told those people about James, or the people that were around him. They may have a completely different idea about who it is that they have in their house and why that person is there. Oh, that one's on the floor. Ace of Voices. Correction. I called this the Ace of Swords, but this is the Ace of Wands. So it's inaction that they're not able to take, and not taking new initiatives, which is kind of also what I said, but it's not quite voices. It's the fire energy of the Wands. The Ace of Swords just fell on the floor, so that made me check again. Right, here we go. The correct ace this time. Ace of Voices, but this one's upright. So whether or not they're taking initiatives or not, they definitely are thinking about it, and they may actually have a new thought every once in a while, like, hey, maybe if I try this, or maybe if I try that, maybe something to look into. So I think it does actually occupy a lot of their mind on a fairly regular basis. Like, it's definitely something they think about a lot. The big mystery that needs to be solved, and they may have some inspiration at some points to to keep looking. Like, we have this star here. So this is somebody who is really shining bright in other people's eyes. It could be that they are, it's almost like they're looking to be the stars. You can see that beam over there. Sometimes you can see the beam as leaving the person, like shining outwards, but in this case it seems almost like they're looking for a searchlight to shine on them, and they're holding the star in their hand, which to me says like they know that somebody's looking to shine a light on them, but they don't know who and what. And it looks as though they're holding their star close because they probably also don't want other people to know, like in the environment, that something's going on, because that might tip off the people that they're with. Meanwhile, though, we don't have a great relationship with possibly the people around us because the Three of Cups is in reverse, so it's causing some strife, this unsolved mystery. Maybe they're trying to hide it, that they're still looking, because they don't want people to be upset with him. But I think that it's definitely caused some issues between them. I mean, normally adolescents have issues with their parents as it is, just from just being an adolescent. But in this case, they also have a big secret in their heart. But there is something changing, because we have the wheel right here, which definitely says that the fortunes are changing. And since it's upright, it might be changing for the better. So maybe we're looking at them possibly finding some clue as to who they are and what they were, or where they were initially, who they were with. I don't know if there are any like age progressed photos of Timothy Pitzen, because that would also possibly help if it comes close to what he actually looks like. There are like websites with lost children, and they often also post age regressed photos there as well. He may be looking at sites like that to see if anybody looks like him. I think there may be a chance that that might happen. At least so far, the cards seem to be saying that he did indeed go with somebody, and he's currently trying to question who he is, where his family is, but he's trying to do so quietly, because right now it's not practical to just come out and say, hey, I'm looking for my old parents or my old dad, because I think the people that he's with would not appreciate that. So he's trying to do it quietly and not really taking too much action here with the Ace of Wands, but still trying to do something at least. It's very frustrating internally, because I feel like they're constantly stopping and going, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and then I still have that internal struggle here. But there is change coming, so hopefully one day we'll learn more about Timothy and whoever, at least what their name may be now, and that they might find their old selves and come back to the old family. Let's hope that they do. So that is what I'm seeing for Timothy Pitzen. I hope you found that interesting. Make sure to leave a like and a comment in the comment section below. That'd be great. Like I said, there is a Google Forms link in the description as well, where you can put more case names of people that are like public cases that I could look into. Thank you if you want to do that. I hope to see you in another video in the meantime, and bye bye for now.